Hello! 11 drug addicts lie motionless on the ground, victims of a batch of heroin with an unusually high purity level. This was no random accident, but a calculated move by the Lo Russo Clan, a direct challenge to the orders of Maria Licciardi, the most powerful drug queenpin in Italy. Maria, known as the godmother of the Camorra, had built a criminal empire based on ruthless strategies, trafficking women and orchestrating brutal murders. She survived countless police raids, hiding in luxurious places with marble floors and hot tubs, and even orchestrated the bombing of a prosecutor's office while in prison. However, the lone defiance of the Lo Russo clan triggered a chain of events that led to her downfall. How did a conflict over heroin lead to the collapse of one of the most feared crime bosses in Italy's history? And how did this power struggle turn Naples into a violent war zone? When mentioning the mafia, Camorra might not be the first name that comes to mind. However, this criminal organization based in Naples and Campania has a long and brutal history dating back to the 16th century. Camorra evolved from a gang protecting gamblers from the police into one of Italy's most powerful criminal organizations. Unlike Cosa Nostra, with its strict hierarchical structure and a single boss at the top, Camorra is more fragmented. The independent operations of its clans often lead to internal conflicts, but also make the organization more resilient. When one leader is taken down, another quickly takes their place. Camorra funds itself through illegal activities such as drug trafficking and extortion, maintaining a strong influence in the Naples region. Maria Licciardi, born in 1951, was a part of this ruthless criminal organization in Secondigliano, Naples, right at the heart of the Licciardi clan's territory. Maria grew up in a criminal environment where her father was a notorious local boss and her brothers were deeply involved in Camorra. Maria's family life was far from ordinary. She married Antonio Tagami, another member of Camorra, and her initial role in the mafia world, like many other women, was traditional: a loyal wife, quietly cooking, cleaning, and raising children. However, her life did not stop there. Maria's brother, Gennaro Licciardi, also known as Monkey, became a powerful figure, founding the Secondigliano Alliance, a coalition of clans controlling many illegal activities. In Naples during the 1980s and 1990s, the world of organized crime in Italy was in chaos. The government launched a large-scale crackdown that led to the arrest and death of many male leaders, creating a power vacuum that women, including Maria, began to fill. As Maria's brothers and husband were imprisoned during the government crackdown, she faced a formidable challenge, leading a criminal organization in turmoil. Naples at the time was engulfed in violence and poverty, with unemployment in her neighborhood reaching 70% and the black market becoming the only remaining economy. Maria did not just step into the leadership role, she entered a true life-or-death struggle. She proved her mettle by skillfully organizing meetings with rival clans, convincing them that internal conflicts were undermining their shared business interests. She proposed a plan to divide the city to prevent territorial wars while focusing on expanding illegal activities like smuggling tobacco and drugs. Maria's efforts yielded significant results. Thanks to her confidence and effectiveness in executing her strategy, she gained respect from other gang bosses, and more importantly from the enforcers who carried out the orders. She quickly earned the title of godmother of the Licciardi clan and the Secondigliano Alliance. Under her leadership, the Camorra became more organized and secretive than ever, expanding its power and influence. Maria Licciardi was not just an ordinary leader, she was a storm in the criminal world. When she took over the Licciardi clan, she faced a Naples full of chaos and violence. Her first strategic move was to unify 20 fragmented Camorra gangs under the Secondigliano Alliance. Imagine the mafia bosses sitting around a table discussing power and territory, while Maria, a woman in a male-dominated world, confidently presented her vision of a more organized and profitable future. She understood that the endless wars between gangs only harmed business, so she created peace, persuading the other bosses to stop the territorial wars and focus on expanding illegal activities. Under Maria's leadership, tobacco smuggling, drug trafficking, and extortion operations surged, bringing in millions of euros and solidifying the power of the Secondigliano Alliance. Her approach was compared to Rosetta Cudolo, Another notorious female mafia boss. Rosetta, the sister of Raffaele Cutolo, the leader of the infamous NCO Camorra organization, was known for her sharp strategy and ruthless execution of orders. Raffaele, often called the Professor, founded the NCO with the vision of building a highly structured and disciplined criminal organization. While he executed grand strategies from prison, Rosetta was the one who made these plans a reality on the ground. Her intelligence and decisiveness made her an indispensable asset to the organization. Rosetta's strategic mind was evident in her ability to manage NCO's vast operations network. She coordinated drug trafficking, extortion, and other criminal activities with precision, ensuring that the organization ran smoothly despite intense scrutiny from law enforcement. Rosetta's ruthlessness in enforcing orders instilled fear and respect within the NCO ranks, securing her position as a power enforcer. She did not hesitate to use violence to maintain order and discipline within the organization. Those who opposed her or disobeyed orders faced severe consequences, often carried out by Rosetta herself. Her brutality was so notorious that it played a key role in maintaining NCO's supreme power. Both Maria and Rosetta were cold and calculating figures, skilled in cultivating loyalty and fear in equal measure. Under Maria's leadership, the Camorra not only survived but thrived, becoming more secretive, sophisticated, and powerful than ever. One of Maria Licciardi's most brutal and controversial decisions was breaking a long-standing Camorra rule against trafficking women. The Camorra tradition had long been to avoid profiting from the trafficking of women, but Maria, as a woman, saw this as an opportunity to increase power and profits. She made a dangerous pact with the Albanian mafia to bring women into Italy. These women were often promised legitimate jobs to escape poverty in their homeland, but upon arrival, they fell into a nightmare. They were purchased for about $2,000 each and forced into prostitution, becoming slaves tightly controlled. To ensure they could not escape or report to the authorities, the Camorra often got them addicted to drugs to keep them under control. These women had to live in fear and endure ruthless surveillance from their overseers. This shift not only expanded Camorra's revenue, but also boosted Maria's reputation, proving that she was just as ruthless as her male counterparts. Maria's trafficking operations were not only extensive, but also brutally efficient. The victims were moved through a network of safe houses, always under surveillance, and any signs of resistance were swiftly punished, often with death. This brutality made Camorra not only powerful, but also infamous for its bloody actions. Under Maria's leadership, Camorra became a formidable force both in power and reputation. Her ability to adapt and innovate within the criminal world made her stand out from many of her rivals. However, her brutality and the scale of her operations could not escape the attention of law enforcement and rival factions, leading to severe violent conflicts and later crackdowns. In the spring of 1999, a major event shook Camorra and sparked a bloody conflict. It all started with a shipment of extremely pure heroin from Turkey, a shipment full of promise, but also fraught with risks. Maria Licciardi, a sharp and strategic leader, immediately recognized the danger. She knew that selling such pure heroin could lead to a wave of overdoses and deaths, which would undoubtedly draw unwanted attention from the public and law enforcement. So she decided to ban the sale of this heroin, a move meant to protect the organization. Despite the sacrifice of short-term profits, Maria was determined to prevent the sale of pure heroin. However, not everyone agreed with this decision. The Lo Russo Clan, feeling increasingly marginalized and harboring simmering discontent, decided to defy Maria's orders. Tensions had been brewing for a long time, as the Lo Russo Clan felt they were not receiving the power and profits they deserved. Their frustration and ambition drove them to challenge Maria, seeking to assert their power and gain greater influence within the criminal system. The Lo Russo Clan began selling pure heroin on the streets, and as Maria had predicted, the consequences were catastrophic. Within weeks, heroin overdose deaths began to rise sharply. In particular, April 1999 saw as many as 11 addicts die from overdoses. This wasn't just a minor incident, but a full-blown public health crisis, drawing significant attention and causing a wave of public outrage. These deaths triggered a strong police crackdown on the Camorra clans. Authorities already on alert now had the perfect reason to conduct large-scale raids aimed at weakening Camorra's dominance and the power of the criminal families. The media quickly jumped in, highlighting Camorra's role in the heroin crisis and painting a grim picture of Naples' underworld. The actions of the Lo Russo Clan not only sparked public outrage and increased police activity, but also caused serious rifts within the Secondigliano alliance. The unity that the mafia had carefully built was now pushed to its limit. The heroin scandal became a critical turning point, demonstrating how just one wrong decision or act of defiance could upend the entire power dynamics established within Camorra. The streets of Naples turned into bloody battlegrounds, where gunfire, drugs, and brutal acts became commonplace. Police raids were relentless, with numerous lower and mid-level members of Camorra being arrested and imprisoned. These arrests only fueled more violence as rival clans saw opportunities to seize power and territory from the weakening Lo Russo Clan. However, the problem didn't stop with the Lo Russo Clan. The raids and internal conflicts also weakened the entire Camorra. Maria Licciardi, with her sharp strategic vision, found herself caught in this whirlwind of chaos. She did her best to prevent this disastrous scenario, but the defiance from the Lo Russo Clan put everyone in danger. After the heroin-related incidents, the streets of Naples were filled with anger and fear following the deaths of 11 addicts. In April 1999, the incident involving pure heroin triggered an unprecedented wave of outrage. Families mourned the loss of their loved ones, and the community demanded action. The Italian government and law enforcement agencies did not miss this opportunity. They quickly organized large-scale operations against Camorra, deploying hundreds of police equipped with modern technology and sophisticated intelligence. Raids on Camorra's hideouts, drug labs, and safe houses were not just minor arrests, but coordinated military-style operations aimed at wiping out the entire organization from its roots. This intense crackdown had far-reaching impacts, as the Secondigliano alliance that Maria Licciardi had struggled to unite began to unravel. The unity she had painstakingly built started to disappear, giving way to chaos as leaders were overthrown, and rival factions saw opportunities to assert their power. The once stable and powerful alliance crumbled under the pressure of relentless police attacks and internal disintegration. As order within Camorra vanished, chaos took over. Violence in the Secondigliano area escalated quickly as the power vacuum created by the arrests led to brutal confrontations and the revival of old grudges. Gunfights became commonplace, with bodies piling up on the streets. The local residents, already struggling with poverty and unemployment, were now gripped by indescribable panic as they witnessed these horrific scenes. The situation grew even more dire when the stamp conflict erupted, marking one of the bloodiest chapters in Camorra's history. This conflict was primarily a power struggle between factions loyal to Maria Licciardi and breakaway groups seeking to free themselves from her control. The violence was intense and unrelenting, with over 120 people killed in just a few months. This wasn't just a fight over territory or money, it was a battle for survival and power. The streets of Naples ran red with blood as rival gunmen hunted each other down in an endless war. Camorra's brutality reached its peak with the murder of Jose Verde, a 22-year-old woman, in a calculated and ruthless act designed to extract information. Jose was linked to the criminal world through her ex-boyfriend, Gennaro Natorno, who had been kidnapped by a criminal group. Natorno was a member of a breakaway faction that had split from the main Camorra, leading to increased tensions and violence. Due to Jose's past connection with Natorno, the rival faction believed she might hold valuable information about his whereabouts and activities. The kidnapping was meticulously planned. Jose was taken to a remote location where she was subjected to brutal forms of torture to force her to reveal information. Despite enduring excruciating pain, Jose refused to betray her ex-lover. This led to her being killed in a gruesome manner. 3 shots to the neck, a method chosen to ensure a slow and painful death. Her body was then placed in a car and burned, likely to destroy evidence and send a chilling message to anyone who dared to defy or withhold information from Camorra. The public reacted with horror and outrage to this murder. This brutal act, along with the rising death toll, forced the government to take tougher measures. More police were deployed to Naples, and the crackdown intensified. Driven by public pressure, the authorities ramped up their campaign to dismantle Camorra's infrastructure, arresting anyone suspected of being involved in criminal activities. Despite her sharp strategic mind, Maria Licciardi struggled to maintain control. The spiral of violence, continuous arrests, and internal betrayals became too much for even her to handle. Her once unquestionable power was now in doubt, and her allies grew increasingly unreliable. The stamp conflict marked the beginning of the end for Maria's reign. The pressure from law enforcement, combined with internal strife, laid the groundwork for her eventual downfall. The pressure on Maria Licciardi and Camorra increased from all sides. The public was outraged by the escalating violence and drug-related deaths, and the government was determined to completely dismantle Camorra's operations. In the largest crackdown to date, a massive operation involving 1,500 police officers was launched, resulting in the arrest of 52 criminals in a single night. This show of force aimed to break Camorra's network and eliminate key figures. However, Maria was a master of evasion. She used a network of luxurious hideouts equipped with full surveillance systems, marble floors, and even hot tubs to stay one step ahead of the authorities. Despite being intensely hunted, she successfully avoided capture for a long time. Her ability to vanish without a trace earned her the nickname the Scarlet Pimpernel of Italy. Maria used her vast resources and loyal network to keep herself out of the law's reach. However, the relentless pressure from the police and the increasing number of arrests around her signaled that her days on the run were numbered. Her ability to maintain operations while in hiding was impressive, but eventually, Maria's luck ran out. On June 14, 2001, based on a crucial tip, the police finally captured Maria. She was arrested without resistance in the city of Melito di Napoli, a suburban area of Naples known for its high concentration of Camorra activity. This arrest was the result of months of surveillance and meticulous intelligence gathering. Law enforcement had intensified efforts to dismantle Camorra's leadership structure, and Maria, one of the most elusive figures, had become their top target. The breakthrough came when a source, possibly from within Camorra's ranks or from a rival faction, provided critical information about Maria Licciardi's hideout. On that fateful day, an elite police team swiftly and discreetly executed their plan. They tracked Maria to a modest apartment where she was hiding, relying on her loyal network to avoid detection. Despite her notoriety and the extensive protective measures she had established, the police operation was flawlessly executed. Maria was arrested without any resistance, a stark contrast to the violent confrontations that often accompanied the arrests of Camorra members. This moment marked the end of her reign as the most powerful female boss in Camorra's history. Maria's arrest was not only a significant victory for law enforcement, but also a powerful message to the criminal world that even the most formidable figures cannot escape justice. However, the battle didn't end there, even though she was imprisoned. But Maria's influence did not immediately disappear. She continued to maintain power and respect within Camorra, even while in captivity. Maria ruled in prison much as she had ruled the organization, enforcing a strict code of loyalty and silence among her subordinates. One of the most shocking events during her imprisonment was the bombing of prosecutor Luigi Bobbio's office. Bobbio had relentlessly pursued Camorra, particularly Maria Licciardi. The bombing was not only intended to intimidate and deter him from continuing his investigations, but also served as a threatening message to the authorities. Contrary to expectations, the attack only resulted in Bobbio being placed under strict police protection, and he continued his work with even greater determination. This attack demonstrated that Maria was willing to do anything to protect her empire, even while behind bars. Although Maria's imprisonment didn't completely destroy her network, it significantly weakened it. The arrests and prosecutions of her associates continued to erode the gang's power. By 2009, Maria was released after nearly 8 years in prison, but the landscape had completely changed. Maria's release was not due to any single factor, but rather the result of a combination of legal and strategic reasons. Throughout her trial and imprisonment, her legal team continuously sought to reduce Maria's sentence through various legal maneuvers, including appeals and negotiations. Despite her serious criminal record, they exploited legal loopholes and delayed proceedings, contributing to her early release. Maria's conduct in prison also played a role as she maintained a humble attitude and avoided causing trouble, earning her positive reports from prison authorities. This behavior, along with overcrowding in Italian prisons and judicial reforms aimed at reducing the inmate population, contributed to her release. When Maria returned to the outside world, she found that Camorra had changed significantly during her absence. The organization had adapted to new challenges, and new leaders had emerged to fill the void she had left. The loyalty of her former subordinates, once unquestioned, had waned as they were arrested, allied with other factions, or seized power for themselves. Maria tried to regain her position by relying on her reputation and connections in the underworld, but her influence was never the same as before. The new leaders were wary of her, and the younger generation of Camorra had different priorities and alliances. Maria faced significant resistance in her attempts to reassert her power, but the power dynamics within the organization had changed too much for her to regain her former dominance. Nevertheless, Maria Licciardi did not completely disappear from the criminal scene. She eventually returned to Camorra, but unlike before, things were no longer in her control. Maria no longer had the sharpness and authority she once possessed, while law enforcement quickly began monitoring her every move. A major shock occurred in August 2021 at Fiumicino Airport in Rome. As Maria attempted to flee to Spain, her escape was thwarted. The Carabinieri arrested her before she could react. Faced with serious charges of mafia-type activities, extortion, and receiving stolen money, Maria, who had once been the powerful boss ruling the streets of Naples with an iron fist, now faced the prospect of spending the rest of her life behind bars. The story of Maria Licciardi, once the most powerful female boss in Italy's drug trade, ended in a tragic and unbelievable manner. What are your thoughts on her life and career? Share your views in the comments below for everyone to see. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support me. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.